As we get older, we often think that we become more mature, but real mental growth is much more difficult than that. A lot of women feel like they're stuck in the same patterns, having problems with relationships, making the same mistakes, or not being happy even though they're doing everything right. Why does this take place? Is it just not taking care of things, or is there something more going on? Based on Carl Jung's work, being immature isn't always a choice. It can be caused by unconscious habits that were made as a child, encouraged by society, and not looked at for years. From a young age, women are often expected to be emotionally grown, which means they should be caring, selfless, and in charge of their feelings. But what happens when those standards don't let you grow as a person? When wisdom is forced on someone instead of being earned, it usually stays on the surface. Fears, insecurities, and habits that haven't been dealt with can keep a person mentally stuck no matter how old they are. Why does this happen? And more importantly, what can be done about it? Jung's ideas help us figure that out. Getting rid of these mental habits is the first thing that needs to be done to become a whole, independent person. Maturity doesn't just happen. There's no natural way for a woman to become emotionally or mentally stronger as she gets older. Many women feel stuck as adults because they are stuck in the same emotional fight, making the same mistakes, or depending on other people to tell them who they are. How do you stop psychological growth? 1. Being overprotected as a child. Because they were too protected as kids, some women never learn how to be independent. Parents who protect their kids from problems, making choices, and being responsible for things don't mean to stop them from becoming resilient. Because of this, these women may have trouble being independent and look to others to guide their lives, like partners, friends, or even people in power. 2. Trauma and emotional wounds that haven't been healed. Emotional growth can also be slowed down by painful memories. If a woman has deep emotional scars from family problems, betrayal, or loss, she may develop an underlying fear of being responsible. Taking charge of her own life is too much for her, so she avoids it, staying mentally dependent on other people or stuck in routines of avoiding things. 3. Conditioning based on culture. Society often tells women to look for approval from other people instead of really getting to know themselves. Many women are told from a young age that how others see them, whether they are beautiful, agreeable, or likable, equals how much they are worth. Focusing on making other people happy can take the place of the natural process of self-exploration, cutting people off from who they really are. Jung thought that a person stayed childish when they avoided the problems that were important for growth. To really grow as a person, you have to be willing to deal with pain, accept responsibility, and face your fears and weaknesses. A woman may feel mentally young no matter what age if she avoids these problems. To become the Puella Eterna often thinks of life in terms of fairy tales, where love will make everything better and the right person will show up to save her. So she doesn't work on becoming independent. She waits for the right person to give her a reason to live. If you're like this, you might always be looking for the perfect romance instead of making a deep bond with someone. Not having a partner makes you feel empty or lost. 2. Not taking responsibility. Endless girl is someone who doesn't like order, rules, or hard work. She might switch jobs a lot, have trouble committing, or stay away from things that seem too boring or adult. She might not be in charge of her life. Instead, she might be living an extended childhood, looking for fun while avoiding bigger problems. Changing your mind about your passions all the time without making any real progress. The thought of making plans for the future makes me feel stressed. A tendency to put things off or avoid making hard choices. 3. Fear of getting older. Clinging to youth to feel good about yourself, or the Puella Eterna, Being young is more than just a stage of life. It's who they are. She doesn't have a strong sense of who she is on the inside, so she counts on looks, attention, or charm from the outside to keep her value. It stops being a normal process and turns into a scary loss. One thing this can do is make people want to stay young at all costs, judging one's own worth by how they look and what other people say about them, finding it hard to accept the more mature parts of being an adult, like being self-aware, wise, and independent. Finding people who make you dependent instead of helping you grow. How society makes mental immaturity worse. There are a lot of things that reward women for staying emotionally and mentally immature. Being seen as cute, innocent, or playful is often more appealing to other people than being serious, independent, and sure of yourself. Romantic comedies, in which the main character is usually ignorant, awkward, or silly, and waits for love to make her life meaningful, show this even more. Social media influencers who use soft voices, act too innocent, and avoid deeper, more intelligent talks to appeal to a childlike style. The beauty business, which promotes youth as the most powerful trait and make getting older seem like something to fear rather than enjoy. Women are often told that staying young and playful is more desirable than getting older and more responsible, while men are told to grow up and take on more responsibility, getting out of the eternal girl mindset. Jung thought that individuation, the process of becoming a whole, separate person, was the way to reach true psychological maturity. The Puella Eterna fights this process and stays in a mental state of youth. It costs something to refuse to grow up, no matter how much fun she has or how young she looks. A woman who never faces her inner self will feel lost, worried, and unhappy in the end. Holding on to youth isn't the way to freedom. The real way is to embrace adulthood with strength, knowledge, and self-ownership. The choice to grow. Being mature isn't just a part of getting older. It's a choice, a way to learn about yourself and grow. A lot of women stay stuck in their minds not because they can't grow up, because they've been taught to avoid the difficulties that lead to real freedom. Society likes it when people are young, doesn't like it when people really get to know themselves, and often finds it easier to stay dependent than to become an adult. But you can't really feel empowered if you stay young. You have to go through individuation, which is the process of becoming a whole, independent person. To face one's shadow, one must have the guts, get past the need for validation, are fully in charge of their own lives. The real question is not why some women are still immature, but who is ready to become a fully grown psychological adult.